All right. The 25% minority shareholder in the club of Manchester United, that is Sir Jim Ratcliffe, under the umbrella of Ineos, has come out and broken silence, or dropped what we call the Erik ten Hag sacking hint. All of you who really want to know where this has gone ahead to reach, you feel free to obviously cleanse your ears and just be all ears to this. You're really gonna enjoy this discussion. Welcome to this channel. Smash like button, comment and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Now, drawing to FC Porto was one of the moments that really the side of Ineos was really waiting in for, not in result but in the response of the players. Can United bounce back from the ugly performance of Tottenham Hotspur? And I think Ten Hag ticked that box. That's why in the video we did as the match reaction, we said Erik ten Hag saved by Maguire, all Maguire to the rescue of Erik ten Hag. Because I tell you, if we lost that game, there'll be more noise of Erik ten Hag being sacked than it is right now. I know there are stories being run that I'm really planning to obviously bring to you, that United is looking in for a replacement for Erik ten Hag. Names are really coming in through day in, day out, though Fabrizio Romano is refuting them. But I tell you, that header of Harry Maguire rescues this guy known as Erik ten Hag, to an extent that if he can happen to obviously get a draw or get a result at Aston Villa, I tell you what, a lot can really go into his favor as the manager of Manchester United. I call upon for 100 likes to be smashed in this video and continue to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokan David is my name and you can call me RD. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe was really on break and he was really asked onto Erik ten Hag's future. And this is what he really had to say. I'm gonna read it through, then I'm gonna come up here and obviously let you know what my analysis is for what this mogul went ahead to say. Sir Jim Ratcliffe on Erik ten Hag's future, he said, I don't want to answer that question. I like Erik. I think he's a very good manager, but at the end of the day, it's not me who decides. It's the management team at Manchester United who have to decide how best to manage the team. So let's first tamper with this. Now, this is what I like about this is what I like about Ineos, and this is what the proper football management should be like. When you bring in what we call a person to obviously handle issues of your club, you really give him all the authority. And who is responsible for sacking Erik ten Hag? It's Omar Berrada and Dan Ashworth. That is it. That is it. It's Omar Berrada and Dan Ashworth, and those two are responsible for hiring and sacking. You understand? So Sir Jim Ratcliffe is like, I'm not really into that. All I did was to install what we call a better structure at the club of Manchester United. After installing what we call a better structure at the club of Manchester United, obviously the rest will be kept into the jurisdiction of Omar Berrada and Dan Ashworth, and we don't know what their decision is really gonna be. And one of the stories that really came in through after United lost to Spurs towards the sacking of Erik ten Hag, it was brought in by Lord Whitwell and was like, Omar Berrada, the CEO of Manchester United, and Dan Ashworth have just come up just a week ago and backed the manager that they found him the best candidate to obviously work with the club of Manchester United. You understand? Now, when it was the case, the guy came out and said, that is Lord Whitwell, a correspondent of Manchester United for The Athletic, that there is no way you come up and obviously sack a person you've just backed a week back. It shows that there are really loose gaps into your management and choices. And if they wanted to sack him at the end of the season of 2023-2024 and they didn't, then they have to come up and obviously back him for some time and see to it that things really go on the right way. So I think those two are responsible for everything, and that's why Sir Jim Ratcliffe is like, I'm not that kind of person to make a decision. The decision makers are there, and we know who they are, and I've told you who they are. Now, he also added and said, but the team that runs Manchester United has only been together since June or July. They weren't here in January, February, March, or April. Omar Berada, Dan Ashworth, they only came in July. They've only been here a few weeks. Now, this is what people get wrong. You get, and when you hear the owner say this, he speaks from a well-informed point of view about Manchester United on decisions that people are really making. And what people forget is only 5% happens with the pitch. 95% really happens off pitch. And I tell you, off pitch, we are not really doing well. And at the look of things, Omar Berada and Dan Ashworth have just joined this club in July and June. And remember, they are the pivot of this club. You know, they are the makers and breakers. They are the movers and shakers of this club. And that's what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is really telling you, that these people have gone ahead to do their job. And they've just been here for 2 months. And do you think that change is really going to be effected in 2 months? And by the way, this is where people get me wrong. They say, Rokani, you don't want Erik ten Hag to be sacked. I blame Erik ten Hag, and I've on several occasions told you that he's sacking himself. But do you think that even when you sack Erik ten Hag, the new manager is really going to come and change everything? No. Internally, there are things that are not really moving on well that need to be really reinforced. For example, Omar Berada and Dan Ashworth, one being at Man City and the other one being at Newcastle, have been admirers of Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford. But when they come inside, they really get the real picture, because you look at the stats of the player at the end of the season, but you don't look at how he has gone ahead to cost the team. Like on Thursday, Marcus Rashford, the first goal, he's really responsible, and the second one, I really blame it on him, because he had to obviously put in a lot of pressure, you know, and he didn't. That is my worry about him. And now they are really having a better look at these players. If you think the manager is 100% the problem, you're wrong. I think he's partially the problem, but even the players have not gone ahead of to do themselves justice. And by the way, we are being disturbed by 2 players. You get, Bruno Fernandes gets a red card in the game of Tottenham Hotspur. You never know what would have gone to happen in the second half if we are 11 versus 11, because we are playing at Old Trafford. Games have gone ahead to change. When it's 2-0, 3-0, a team comes back and bounces back in 45 minutes. You've seen that very well, not so? Then you've seen, I think that happened to us at the Stamford Bridge last year. You know, we are leading by 3-1, and guess what went ahead to happen? Chelsea came back and scored 3, and they won it by 4-3. So a game of football can change. You get? It can change at any moment. So in the game of FC Porto, by the time Bruno got a red card, United was suffocating that team. You can all agree with me that Man United was really suffocating that team, and the fact was United was really going to score and even win, because even when we are 10, we happen to obviously get an equalizer. Imagine how it would have gone ahead to go if at all we are 11 versus 11. Now, if the person they've been seeing from afar, Bruno Fernandes, is doing that, you get, now they'll understand exactly what Bruno Fernandes is made of. You get? So, I all know that it's really going to take some time, but just listen to what the owner of the club is really saying. He's really telling you that there is no way you are really considering this a failed project with Erik ten Hag when these people that are really the most important people at the club have just gone ahead, obviously coming through in June and July, meaning that they've only been here, right? They've only been here for Dan Ashworth. He has been here for, we can say, July, August, September, 3 months. Dan Ashworth commenced Omar Berada commenced working as the CEO for Manchester United on the 14th of July. Now, 14th August, 14th September, he has been here for 2 months, and he knows to it that it's not going to be a quick fix. And this is why Erik ten Hag always tells you that he's sitting with the board and they're really trying to build something great. That's why they went ahead to bring in young players. Of course, they know it's really going to be a work in progress. That is it. So that is Jim Ratcliffe for you, and he's really saying that, and I really believe in what he's really saying in here. Now, we go to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and this is what he went ahead to say. Lastly, they haven't been here long, so they have to take stock and make sensible decisions. Our goal is very clear. We want to bring Manchester United back to where it should be, and that's not the case yet. Obviously, that's very clear. Obviously, he acknowledges that things are not moving on well, but he believes that the people, or the movers and shakers of the club, have just been here for just months, and there is no way you can obviously think that the club has gone ahead to rectify everything, meaning that there's still some nitty-gritties. But no one is okay with the results. But for me, I look at the positives and the negatives. We've said about the negatives, and the positives have been said, because the results since this season of Erik ten Hag are not really good. But ask yourself, how have we gone ahead to obviously lose points and win points? The first game, it ended 1-1, though they say we lost on penalties. But for me, I really look at the 1-1 performance where Man City came up and obviously leveled. Then Fulham, we won by 1-0. Brighton, we lost by 1-2. Liverpool, 3-0. Old Trafford. Southampton, we won by 3-0. Barnsley, 7-0. Crystal Palace, 0-0. FC 20, 0-0. Tottenham Hotspur, we lost by 3-0. And FC Porto, we drew 3-3. Now, I think there is one thing that we are not really grasping as the fans, that how are we losing? That is the most important bit of it all. And when we really get to know why we are losing, we'll obviously get to the gist of the matter. That's why, for me, I'm blaming Erik ten Hag, because it's Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes that are making us lose. I tell you, I'm going to be doing the match preview of Aston Villa versus Manchester United after this video. I'm going to be dropping the match preview. But if we go in the game of Villa, when Rashford is off that pitch and Bruno is off that pitch, I 100% guarantee you United can beat Villa. But we are not going to beat Villa if you're having those two players on the field of play, because they are not doing anything. And even if they rise, and really create a lot offensively, defensively, they are really going to cost us. You get? They are really going to cost us, because if you are 3-2 down at FC Porto, how do you go in for such a challenge? How do you go in for such a challenge? How do you go high, when you're not going to win that ball fully? You understand? So those are decisions. Those are things that are really costing us. When you look at the game of Liverpool, 3 balls given away, Kobe Mainoo, Casemiro, you get? Game of Tottenham Hotspur, Rashford doesn't track back, Bruno gets a red card. So you just ask yourself, what are these players all about? You get? And why I blame Erik ten Hag is he's responsible to obviously bench these players. Why doesn't he bench these players and obviously tell them that you should not be on my pitch if at all you're really playing like that? Simple things. That's what you're really calling him for, to make such decisions, but he's not making those decisions. So Rokan David is my name, and I sign out for now. See you later. And this is what we've gone ahead to obviously do and really bring on the best of the best into the making. So thank you very much for watching through. I call upon for your reactions into what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said about Erik ten Hag's sacking and his future at the club of Manchester United. Do you agree with him? Yes or no? Do you agree with my inputs? Yes or no? It's a game of opinions, and we all know to it that everyone is entitled to his or her own opinion. I'm out. Bye-bye.